combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. I got a new background today. It's all pretty. You'll find out why here in a minute. JimmyRants.com is the website. If you're brand new to the show, head on over to JimmyRants.com, and you'll see that we start on Instagram. So go follow me on Instagram. I need lots of followers there. LIVINLOWCARBMAN. And you can watch live just like Joshua and Barnyard Coffee and Griff Sam and XXAAW. I'll ask you later what that means, but she's here. And then you can watch for 24 hours on the replay. We also pop it over onto YouTube. So go look up Jimmy Rants on YouTube. You can see all the past episodes. And then finally, a Jimmy Rants podcast, which has the best of the best moments of this here show, JimmyRants.com. Today's Jimmy Rants is all about a topic that was suggested to me by this sweetheart of a lady. She's here with me right now. Hello, hello, who are you?
What's up, you guys?
What's up? Tell them who you are.
Jenny, over at Jumpin' for Keto.
Jumpin' for Keto. So she's been on Jimmy Rants. You're a Jimmy Rants fan.
I am.
Yeah, so you
Ever
watch
since
the show.
I got to meet you at KetoCon.
Yeah, so she's been able to, aw, she's a sweetheart. So she's been doing her work out there. So go follow her, you guys, Jumpin' for Keto. But you wanted to talk about something rather unique that I thought was a really good topic. And it's all about authenticity and people being themselves, and that there's this kind of aura of what people expect you to be when you're in the community. So I'm going to let you take it away, and then I'll chime in.
Cool.
Where you go from there. So are you being you in the keto community is what we titled this.
So this came about, Jimmy did a presentation at KetoCon, which I got to attend. And if you guys can attend, it's really, really awesome. But what I loved about that presentation was it was finding your voice. I feel like in the keto community or any health community, there starts to be this idealism of what you need to look like or what you think you're going to eventually end up looking like. And so there's this kind of loss of authenticity that happens. And so we're like, oh, I need to look like so-and-so, or I need to do exactly what so-and-so is doing to be successful, instead of kind of listening to your own body, your own experiences, what you're going through, and finding people that are similar to you, but different enough to challenge you. Like some of my favorites to follow, like John Leminski, you know, Maria Emmerich, they push me, they challenge me, but then I also love following Jimmy because he's like me and he's real. And I love that. But just kind of figuring out in that, because sometimes I feel like we can kind of cave to that social pressure of I need to look like that in order to have that voice or be that voice. And one of the things that I loved about his talk at KetoCon is every voice matters, because there's still that person that needs to hear from that body type or that personality. And so kind of being the authenticity that you are.
And I want to bring up something, because when she came in my house, she's like, all right, Jimmy, I got a question for you, because this has been bugging me. And so she brought up the thing about, you know, when you don't quite look like the perfection of keto,
yeah,
how do you keep going? What is it that drives you to have a voice? And so talking about this, are you being you in the keto community on this Jimmy Rants? Welcome in if you're just joining us. You know, I think it's a great question. How you keep going. And what I told her is, I don't give a crap what people think. So that helps. But in light of that, not everybody has that attitude. How do you deal?
That's something that I've struggled with, because as a female, I was joking with Chris about this, like we've got that double X chromosome, and I feel like it just makes you hyperly aware of how you're perceived. And so there have been times where I'm like, I was doing Instagram lives and things like that, and I kind of like scaled back a little bit, and then I was like, well, no, because people go through the same struggles that I do. And so being able to be the authentic, I meant tongue.
Authentic.
I've been driving for hours.
Heavy.
But just for me, I think it goes back to what's my reason. And my reason is, at the end of the day, if there's someone who doesn't quit on themselves because they look different or they are different, like that's what matters to me. Because I've been there, and there's been people like you and others that have reached out, and I'm like, I'm not alone in this. I think a lot of times we get caught up in these ideals and we're like, that's unattainable to me. But then what's your real motivation behind it?
Well, and then oftentimes people think because they don't have the look of the quote ideal, whatever that means, that they have no voice.
Yeah.
And that disgusts me, because I may not look the part, but I said this to you just a moment ago, it doesn't invalidate the information that you're sharing. Yeah. So you can share the information even as you're still working on yourself, and the information is the information. It doesn't matter who's saying the information, and yet we have all these people that like to tie, oh, if you do X, then you'll look like
Y.
me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what has kind of kept the weight loss industry going, is you got the Jillian Michaels.
You mean that $1 billion industry
at least
that
$1 billion.
on self-doubt?
At least $1 billion. People like Jillian Michaels out there, oh, you just need to do this and this and this, and you'll be all healthy, and it's not realistic, is it?
No, and I think that's the hardest part, is like someone who's not, idealistic, but at the same time, like if I look at my A1Cs, if I look at the fact that I'm off of my anti-anxiety meds, if I look at the health markers, like, am I better in the lifestyle I am now? Yes. Do I have a better relationship with food? Yes. And so I think there's getting beyond this idealistic idea of what keto is about and getting to the point that it's about health and not always about weight loss. And I feel like the sooner we make that shift, the better it will be, that it's a health goal.
Well, that's my jam. That's what I'm talking about.
That's why I adore you.
And that was the first thing out of your mouth was, all right, everybody cares about weight loss. Why do you care about health? How do I get my head wrapped around that? How do you communicate that with people and get them to believe it?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to say it's about health, but people still care about weight loss. So then how do you not get them to care as much about weight loss? Not that it's not important, but it's not the importance. I would much rather still deal with weight, but live a long time and have great health the rest of my life.
Yeah, because there's ways to drop weight, but it doesn't necessarily...
I can cut off my leg right now and lose 50 pounds.
I don't know. You are pretty tall. You are pretty tall. Look at this. Like,
sweet and low.
Like, he's pretty tall, guys. And I think it goes back to that drive of, like, why? Like, am I doing this to be this, or am I doing this because I want to be healthy and happy? So I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us on this Jimmy Rants, this special edition with this beautiful lady right here, we're talking about, are you being you in the keto community? Because we're seeing a lot of people who are trying to be a persona online.
Yeah.
Does that drive you nuts too?
It does, because I feel like it gives this different impression of what it is. Like, it's great that that's where you are, but have you had the same challenges that an average person has? Have you dealt with obesity? Have you dealt with, not that you would ever deal with PCOS, but I've dealt with PCOS.
Hey, I can have PCOS.
Okay. The biomarkers, the insulin resistance, those things, I think sometimes it's so easy to get caught up in just a comparison and not looking at the whole measure.
Right.
And just like I used to work as a researcher in the health community, and like I would have people that were dying of heart attacks that weighed 150 pounds, and I had people that weighed 275 pounds and their arteries were just fine.
Yeah. This is Jenny, by the way, from Jumpin' for Keto, JUMPN, the number 4, and then Keto. Go follow her on Instagram, but because somebody was asking, who is this lady? So let's see what these guys have to say. Let me back up.
There's been lots of ways. I've been trying to keep up. Someone was asking about keto and lupus.
Yeah, I'm not doing general questions right now. Shell Davis 1 says, be authentic. Yeah, that's what we're saying here. That's the bottom line in 2 words summarizing what we're trying to say here is, are you being you in the keto community? Because it's one thing to say you're something, but then be something totally else beyond that.
And also be you in the fact that, like, if you're doing a product review or if you get involved with companies, don't be a marketing person, still be you. Like, I know that may sound horrible.
Well, I have sponsors on my podcast, and people often say, oh, you sold out. I'm like, but there are good companies out there.
Yeah, there are companies
and
that
I make it clear.
Back.
I turn down about 95% of the companies that pitch to me.
What?
Turn them down because they're garbage.
There's, especially as keto becomes a buzz name.
Yes, and in 2019 it's going to be horrible.
I'm like,
yeah,
this is not healthy.
Right.
This doesn't create a healthy relationship with food or yourself either.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry guys.
All right.
This is a rant, so I guess these are allowed.
So Bonnie Lene says, I was thinking of being a personal exercise trainer. My trainer knew I was overweight and said, you'll never get any clients because you're not thin enough. I thought that was a terrible thing to say, but he said, I'm being honest, but now I look into my insides rather than outside thanks to you. Thank you, Bonnie. So, yeah, and unfortunately, there is this perception that if you have weight on your body, you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to weight loss. You know, and that's when you try to make that shift in people's minds over to the health.
Yeah, and one of the things that I loved when you started doing the biohacks and flipping the tire and
it's out
and
there,
going
by the way.
in and out. It's raining, so
it's
I'm not
raining.
going
Yeah,
out
we're not going out there right now.
It's way too muddy right now. So if you expect to see that, I'm sorry to disappoint
not
you.
happening today.
Maybe next time.
It will get on there one of these days.
Next time. But like in that of showing that a lot of people do, they see this outward persona and they're like, oh, you're not exercising. I'm like, I can lift pretty dang good in the gym. Like, I can get in there and pound weights with some other keto people, and I have, and I love it, but I don't look like them. And so I think there's a lot to be said for just stripping it off and being like, here's what I'm doing, and here's what works for me. But at the same time, like, figure out what works for you. He's amazing at fasting. I have a bad past with eating disorder. I'm not amazing at fasting, because it goes into this whole mind cycle. And so I'm not going to do everything that you do.
You shouldn't.
I'm not that awesome.
She doesn't want to be me.
I do. The world can't handle two Jimmys. Christine, could you handle two Jimmys?
No.
No.
Hey.
So we got to have one Jimmy and one Jenny. But you know, just figuring out what works for you, because each person needs to realize that they have their own unique biomarkers, their own unique path.
That's right.
And figuring out what works for you, and I think that's the you be you side of it.
Right. And one thing I often say in these Jimmy rants is, I honestly believe had I not made a change, I would be dead today. And of course, it's kind of grim to say that, but I look at my own brother. He died at 41. I was on the same path. I have the same genetic tendencies as he does or did. And so I would.
Yeah.
And so I'm not dead. So if I have weight on my body, I'm not dead. So.
I am not talking to a ghost. I promise.
All right, let's see if there's any other comments. Stephalopagus Keto says, I am one of the most transparent people on the planet. I rub many the wrong way, but the rest appreciate me. Yeah, I'm the same way, Steph. Everybody that works for me, my web guy Hank will tell you, if I hate something, I'm telling him I hate it. So I'm pretty blunt. In fact, my publisher is the same way. I told him, I said, I hope you like authenticity, because I don't hold back. I don't hold back. If I think a book cover design that you made is horrible, I'm going to tell you it sucks.
Well, I think it goes into kind of the social media side as well, Jimmy, of the fact that everybody's not made for everybody's personality.
Right.
And there are some people that have strong personalities that you either love them or hate them.
Right.
But then there's a whole nother group that will either love them or hate them. There are billions of people on this planet. Like,
right.
Find your 1%.
Go find keto blankety blank, you know, whoever fits your bill. Hello, Angela. Thanks for being here. I fasted one time, the worst 20 minutes of my life.
I did that on the car ride.
She fasted one time, the worst 20 minutes. Angela, everybody's a comedian. Barnyard Keto, I'm thankful for trustworthy accounts like yours. Thank you. Aww. Go follow Jumpin' for Keto as well. Holly Jane, 1983, I feel the same way. something we said 5 minutes ago. I forget what that was.
Probably authenticity.
Yes. Bonnie Lene, what a great talk today. So motivating to go out there and be ourselves. Thank you. You're welcome, Bonnie. She's the one. I said, what do you want to talk about? Authenticity. Let's do it. Be you, be you.
Well, I mean, it's becoming a problem with social media. I feel like there is this kind of like facade that gets put on. And sometimes I get caught in the, am I too personal? Am I not personal enough? Should I share
Or are you too
my
bubbly
struggles?
when you get on Instagram? If you ever see me do that, you guys, please let me know and slap me. Wait a minute. Christine will slap me.
Yeah, I'll slap you.
So, Jimmy keeps challenging people, me, and that's what keeps me going. Anxious for more hacks. Joshua, yes, Keto Hacking MD is coming back on Fridays in a couple weeks from now, so stay tuned. Holly said it was about starting keto, how it saved her life. Next week is my 2-year keto-versary. Congratulations.
Congrats! I reached my year mark in 2 days.
Wow.
Frank!
That's
Sorry.
awesome.
What's
That's
up,
awesome.
Culinary Lion?
Keto is my miracle, says Holly Jane. Excellent. All right, guys. So the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants, besides this beautiful woman behind me making all kind of funny faces while I'm on here, are you being you in the keto community? Because we have enough fakery going on. I think it's time we all step up and we be who we are unapologetically. I think the crux of your question that you asked me was such a good one, because too many people think they have to have arrived before they can speak.
And you lose
don't.
so much of that journey. Like, one day, maybe I will look like that, but shouldn't you see all of the heartache, all of the moments that I break through, all of the moments that I endure,
Right.
and the moments I want to give up?
And who are you going to help along the way of you going through that journey
Exactly.
in a public way? It's one reason I'm so vocal publicly. It's very obvious I'm still working on things. But in the meantime, I have stuff to share. She has stuff to share. You have stuff to share, so you should be sharing it. So what's her account again? It is Jumpin' for Keto. So it's JUMPN, the number 4, and then KETO. And that's Jenny. Jenny, who can I turn to? Sorry, I'm showing my age
It's
now.
okay. 857-630.
8675309. Sorry.
I grew up with
She's
this.
never heard that, and I've never heard Jimmy Crack Corn, and I don't care.
Oh my gosh.
Jimmy Crack Corn,
That's
and
all
I
right.
don't care.
I have the,
Jimmy Crack
I love
Corn.
you, Jenny.
I don't think I know how to be anything but blunt, open, and me. It's what I love about you. Thank you, Steph. Yeah, usually people that are very strong and blunt and open like other strong, blunt, and open people.
Because you don't have to wonder, like, what do you really think?
No, there's no doubt. Christine, do you ever wonder what I think? Nope. That's how I feel. I'm so insecure still. Well, Holly Jane, get over that.
Holly, I would say, like, the one thing that blew my mind away with Jimmy's talk at KetoCon, and I think it's on your YouTube now, isn't it? Or it's somewhere.
I think we aired the audio on my podcast.
Okay, so
you can go look it up.
See if you can find it on the podcast. But it was that every voice matters. Insecure or not, I am very insecure. Like, honestly, I freak out sometimes. Like, do I share this? Do I not share this? Does this really matter?
This Jimmy Rants is freaking her out.
Just a little. Just a little.
But she's doing so well.
But just that there are things that you say that really do make a difference. Like, there are people that I follow, Sam being one of them, that, like, just the right day, the right phrase, it pulls me and it keeps me going. Times that you've done some of your rants, I was like, okay, I can't give up quite yet. Like, if Jimmy can flip a tire, I can go to the gym and do the treadmill. Like, so it really, like, your voice matters and the journey matters. And I think the important thing in it is don't wait till you've arrived to share that. Like, share the struggle. And that's okay to struggle.
There's growth in the struggle. Steph says, my 4-year-old Noah loves you too, is chanting JimmyRants.com again.
Oh my gosh. That's
Go to
adorable.
JimmyRants.com. I'm surprised he doesn't go to the Instagram Live. Every voice matters, says Holly. I love that. You guys are awesome. So inspiring. My first time watching. Well, welcome, Holly. You won't get this pretty lady every time, but you got my mug.
Yeah, I'm heading back out to the mountains really soon. I need my snow.
Well, guys, that's it. Say goodbye to Jenny.
Au revoir.
And that's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. As always, go to jimmyrants.com and you'll see how this works. We start off on Instagram. Follow all those people down there engaging in the content. So thank you guys for all that. Giving some love for Miss Jenny here today. And you can follow me at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. You can then watch it up to 24 hours on replay on Instagram, but it disappears. But never fear, we got you covered, because we pop it on over to YouTube where you can watch the replay Forever and Ever Amen. Just type in Jimmy Rants. You like that Forever and Ever Amen?
I love that Forever and Ever Amen. Like my country
Forever
heart just
and
soared.
ever amen.
Oh.
And I hate country music.
That's a shame.
And then the Jimmy Rants podcast, Apple Podcast. Go leave me a review. I got about 8 reviews now, but I would love to have about 80. So go help me out. Write a review on the Jimmy Rants podcast. Again, you guys, all of that is at jimmyrants.com. They're all saying goodbye. So
Bye, guys.
one more time. So until next time, we'll see you then.